Faxanadu is a portmanteau of Famicom, the Japanese name for the NES, and Xanadu, based on the second game in the popular Dragon Slayer series in Japan. Together, they form the ultimate video game in all of history. Alright, that might be an exaggeration, but I will always have a ton of love for Faxanadu. Now before we continue, I will add one thing. For over 30 years, I've been pronouncing the name as Faxanadu, and I love saying it like that. But the actual pronunciation is indeed Faxanadu, and I'm really going to try and hold myself to that. If I slip up, please refrain from excessive flogging. Thank you. Before we can look closely at Faxanadu, we need to follow its origins. Yeah, we need to. We gotta be more thorough here at SoyBomb Incorporated Corp. Limited, Esquire, LLC, Net. By first taking a quick look at Dragon Slayer. Dragon Slayer is a long-running series by Japanese developer Nihon Falcom that, since its first iteration in 1984, has branched out in numerous different directions, including the more recently popular Legend of Heroes series, notably the Trails in the Sky and Trails of Cold Steel games. Faxanadu falls within the series as well, but let's trace things back to the first game of the series, the original Dragon Slayer from 1984. Released for the many Japanese PCs over time, including the PC-8801 and the popular MSX, Dragon Slayer was hailed as the first action RPG at the time. You, as a knight brimming with hope and mutton breath, have to seek out 4 crowns, acquired by slaying dragons, just as the game's title tells you. Unfortunately, the game's cumbersome because you can only carry one item at a time, your sword included, which you don't even start out with, you gotta find that somewhere, and monsters will probably give you a good beating until you find the power stones that improve your stats. Combat is ghastly and rough. It's far from perfect. Just picking up each individual gold nug is... In this day and age, yeah, it looks exciting like an unplugged waffle iron looks exciting. But it was deemed revolutionary at the time, and it started quite a bustling franchise. Dragon Slayer was such a success that a sequel was bound to follow, and it did, 2 years later with Xanadu, Dragon Slayer 2. Wait, that name, where have I seen it before? Oh yeah, the thumbnail of this video. I'll say this. Dragon Slayer was a bit of a slog and hasn't held up well, but Xanadu is, by comparison, a monumental step up as far as player friendliness. Alright, let's get this moving a little faster. Fast forward to late 1989. Faxanadu was released on the NES in North America in November of 1989. The game is actually a side story of the long-running Xanadu series by Falcom, one popularized mostly in Japan on PCs. Development for an NES spin-off was licensed to Hudson Soft, and thus, Faxanadu, short for Famicom Xanadu of course, was born. And it was published by Nintendo? Does this mean they could bring this to the world on the Nintendo Switch Online service? Come on, do it! You play the role of a nameless wanderer who stumbles into the World Tree, where the elves and dwarves are at each other's throats, as its water supply is suddenly stopped. Our hero must climb through the various branches of this gigantic tree, visiting the towns within and learning about what has really happened in the process. And there you go. Faxanadu is, at heart, an action game, but it does take on some RPG elements. The more you fight, the more you gain experience. Reaching milestones and experience levels can be beneficial, provided you talk to a guru and earn yourself a new title. It does make me feel all warm and gooey inside to be called a hero. I like that. Or a Myrmidon. The hell is a Myrmidon? Oh, that's a real thing. But as an added bonus, upon regeneration after death, you'll start out with a predetermined amount of gold already in your pocket. Hey, don't knock free money. I ain't no charity case. Oh, but that guru has another trick up his sleeve. He's the source of all passwords, but he literally spews them out, humorously speaking in strange tongues that we can't really comprehend. Quick, get the holy water!
Nut.
You'd think the guru would work in a church, and not a dank, nondescript building. Maybe the Japanese version was, yeah, there it is. Hello, sir. Our hero starts off in the elf town Aeolus, and it's a dismal place, coated in plenty of brownicitude. Your first destination is to visit the local guru. He gives you the Ring of Elf, which you can use to identify yourself to the king. Some flitting to the palace gives you a sense of what's happening. Yeah, their water source is definitely dried up for reasons unknown, and everyone will die unless you investigate. He gives you 1,500 golds, plural, and then you start your quest by buying stuff. And here's where you meet the locals. Here's the hairy-armed tool salesman. He's got serious goods in the form of new swords.
Or I can use a puny dagger forever.
Or potions to refill your health. Or even magic spells, like this one. Or later on, death. And here's Bob the smoking key salesman. Now there's a face you can trust. Be prepared to visit this dude often. So many doors require keys, and they all seem to relock themselves after each use. Oh, and be even more prepared to buy items one at a time after being asked, "What would you like?" about 1,000 times. Man, these automated shopkeepers really are primitive. Of course, there are other notables in town. How about Torn Apron Meat Guy? Or Buff Karate Sensei? Or Outside Smoking Guy? What a lovely cast of characters. So you buy some cool stuff that you need, spend all your money, and then die. Why not? You can start over with full health, and you can revisit the king for more money while still holding on to all that stuff you already bought. That's right. Bankrupt the whole kingdom, give them the old 1-2 punch right in their coffers, and then go and leave the town. Although you need a key to exit. Yeah, okay. Off you go! It may take a little time to get used to the hero's momentum-based running and jumping, but once you do, the side-scrolling, sword-fighting, magic-casting, meat-munching action will feel like second nature. I love the feeling of stabbing a monster with a powerful... So good! The thing is, if you're not staying in town, you can easily get lost in the vastness of the world tree. Consider this as a Metroid-style game. Oh, maybe even a Metroidvania, ooh, only with 86% fewer aliens, but all the calories. Each area of the game has its own unique personality, and you can feel it just from the environment. I personally love the Misty region. It's so mysterious and foreboding, and the effect really works. The enemies sure are weird in this game. How about this thing that totally looks like an old-timey telephone? Or this blue warrior who won't let me up the ladder, dang it! Or... whoa, holy crud bucket. And let's not forget the final two bosses, King Grieve, and the dude that's totally in charge, the aptly named Evil One, who you can see is clearly a difficult beast to defeat. Oh, it's done already. Yep. Being set in a gigantic tree, Faxanadu takes on a very earthy presentation, focusing its palettes on greens and browns, giving it a flavor different than most of the more colorful, eye-popping adventures on the console. Granted, the game could be more colorful. The atmosphere of each part of the world tree cannot be understated. There's an ethereal feeling to the entire game, one I haven't been able to shake since we first bought this game over 30 years ago. Meat! Also, let's talk about this game's soundtrack. It's absolutely phenomenal. From the fingers of Jun Chikuma, primarily known for scoring a zillion Bomberman games, comes a rich Eastern-influenced soundtrack rivaling any other soundtrack on the console, with a ton of diverse tunes. Just take a listen to a few of them now. Much of the game's charisma comes from the cast of characters, and I don't just mean the townsfolk. Sometimes they're directly helpful, like telling me where to find the Matlock, Mattock. Yeah, that's a word. But then you have weirdos like this guy guarding the sky fountain. The heck is this guy on? Or this one lady who's getting all bonery for our tan hero. Oh, hey there, Doc. You're looking especially smarmy today. Oh, so it was a meteorite that caused all this chaos. Well then. Poison? Well, that's much worse. Welcome to the town of Daydrake? The hell? Ring of Dwarf. Dwarf. Now, let's not be entirely hasty. No game is perfect. Well, except for Quest Fantasy Challenge for Game Boy Color. That game is perfectly suitable for the bin. The running momentum can be a little nerve-wracking, especially if you're trying to make a pixel-perfect jump and our little Myrmidon buddy under or overshoots the landing. Some of the boss battles do feel a little unfair, particularly this aptly named Ripashiku dragon thing. Yeah, the enemies have weird untranslated names. Hey, watch this Bora Bora mushroom dance! Plus, some towers / dungeons are pointless, other than to drain your life and potion supply, with zero reward at the end of hobbling through them. And sometimes items can be pretty damn pricey. They're charging me how much for a potion? Frickin' thieves, them shopkeeps. Oh, and one other, shall we say, playful nitpick. This thing, this pendant here, it's supposed to increase your offensive power by 25%, but thanks to a coding error, it does just the opposite and makes your character weaker. Well, that's just great. Thankfully, you don't actually have to grab it to progress. It's just another item to collect if you want it. But all is forgiven when you discover that, hey, you can fly with wing boots! Yee!
Crap.
Although there are some frustrating periods, often of deaths that could have been avoided with tighter controls, Faxanadu remains a solid journey from beginning to end, and it doesn't stick around long enough to become dull. It doesn't feel like I'm hopping from level to level either. There's one giant coherent world here that's always exciting to explore, even if I have to randomly touch poison. This game was a high point in my childhood NES library, and actually it still is today. It's an exceptional experience separate from most on the NES, and assuredly worth checking out. Faxanadu is way up there in quality with the best of the NES games. You used to be able to pick this one up on the Wii Virtual Console for less than the cost of a box meal at Taco Bell, but not anymore. Frankly, you'll only find this game at a flea market.
Or in the bin.
I sure hope not. This is the best damn game on the NES. Take that, Racket Attack. You big shapoopoo. Thank you for watching. Want to do the do like Faxanadu? Then click on that like button, subscribe to the channel, and keep an eye out for new classic content. Yeah!